talking about this. We happened to find patterns for 99 cents, which was a great buy. We have bought patterns, and we would like all you ladies in the sewing class and others, we're going to try to plan a day where we can come to the church and work together and make costumes so that we can do right by our kids in that programs. So let's be thinking about that. We've been going to Goodwill, picking up sheets, white sheets, and trying to find fabric for the but we want to meet one day. We can have lunch, we can sew, and get these ready so that when we do our programs that we can make our church proud.
Amen.
Any other announcements? I got some. Okay. What was it, 24th of April? We went to the farm show. Stepped on that new stock scale, said 428 pounds. Wow. I know, that's big and sexy, I know. I started that organic apple cider vinegar every morning. On Wednesday, I can already feel the pounds melting off of me.
What are you down to?
I don't know. I don't know. Next time stock sale comes around, I'm getting on that scale. But I'm trying something. There you go.
Gerald, you're in the very back. A lot of you knows, a lot of you guys know what's going on with Jaden. If you guys don't, you can come see me and Richard afterwards, and we can explain it to you. But thank you guys very much for keeping us in your prayers, and just continue them, because he's working in a lot of ways that we didn't think he was doing it. So you can just keep us in your prayers, and thank you guys for praying for us anyways, for Monday and for some other stuff. So thanks, guys.
Amen.
Any other announcements? Yeah, I've got to read the Sunday school report. We had 6 visitors this morning with 80 total and offering $753. Do we have any birthdays or wedding anniversaries? Got a birthday? Anyone else?
Please turn to page 54. Same hand.
Hallelujah. Heavenly Father, I pray for each and every one that's here this morning. I lift them up to you. Families that are visiting, Father, I pray for them too, Father, that you bless them. Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much for what you give us and bless us with. And Father, we pray for our children for this week. Right. I pray, Father, that your mercy be upon us all, that the sponsors that are going, that you bless them and the children. Pray for traveling grace, Father, and a great experience for them. Right. Father, just thank you again for everything. We ask, Father, that you would bless us all from the back to see. Father, we lift up our pastor, brings forth the word. We pray that you will be with him and guide him. And Heavenly Father, just pray for the soul here that doesn't know our Lord and Savior. Right. Come to know him today. Right. A good day, Father, to be saved. Thank you for those men and women that gave their lives, Father. Gave it all for our freedom. We lift them up to you, their families. And pray for those that's gone on to glory, Father, to be with you. We just thank you for them and their families. Heavenly Father, we just give you all the praise and all the glory. Bless this in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen.
And certainly as we prepare for Fall Street Children's Camp this week, remember to keep them in prayer. There's some prayer guides out in the foyer. If you'd like to take one of those with you. And Randy, I support you. Proud of you. I'm almost 300 pounds myself. I'm not that far behind you. Of course, it's hard with muscle. You know, it's just really, really rough. So that's. But anyway, and Carly, good idea with the costumes. And I think when we work, the men, I say we, when the men work up here at church, so often you ladies prepare a meal. I think the men need to prepare a meal for y'all. I do. You like, y'all like mayonnaise or mustard on your bologna sandwiches? No, I think, guys, don't you think? Carla, you let us know when you're going to do. I think we guys ought to pool our resources, and if y'all don't mind, if y'all trust us, ladies, then we just cook y'all a meal. I mean, I'm pretty good. If it can be fried, I can fix it. You know, I'm not a helper, but if it can be fried, I can do it. Richard, go ahead just for a little bit. Go back to the bomber. I want to just kind of give a little highlight. I run across this a few months ago. I mean, today is Memorial Day, a day that was set aside in honor of those that have give so much and fought and died that we have the freedom that we possess today. I mean, men and women are so brave, so courageous. And this right here, this bomber right here, the All-American, if you'll notice the tail, it was hit by a Japanese Zero. It clipped it, it cut the fuselage there. If you'll notice the gunner, and Randy, you and I wouldn't have to worry about being a gunner. There's no way in the world we could fit back there. But it was actually hit. The plane, the crew, they did not have, if I remember correctly, enough parachutes, so they stayed in the plane. If they all couldn't leave, they all stayed in the plane. They finished their bombing run. I mean, they completed their mission. They kept it together with parachute cords to keep the deal. They could not get the tail gunner out because of his weight somehow helped stabilize the plane. It took them over 60 miles to bank the plane. And they found out that when the tail gunner would do a short burst from his gun, the recoil would actually help move the plane.
Wow.
You know? I mean, now, do we take so much for granted here in America? I mean, we really do. I mean, people like these guys and ladies that from day one, from the Revolutionary War up until World War III, we can be so thankful for men and women who gave the price that the freedom that we enjoy today. I mean, we take so much for granted. With that in mind, I'd like to share with you from the 23rd Psalms. Now, I shared with you some years ago that on Memorial Day, I would do a message from the 23rd Psalms, and two reasons. One of them is, and you don't know about the mindset of preachers. Now, Brother Russell does and everything, but we're nosy long. And one day I was up at First Baptist Church there in Seminole, which I lovingly called Walmart Baptist Church until Walmart moved and everything. But I was up there, there was a funeral service, and Pastor K was the pastor at the time. Now, I don't know if you knew Pastor K, but I just really thought the world of him. Now, I love Brother Bob Hammonds, and he was your interim pastor out here for a while, and man, he just did a great job here. But I want you to know, Brother Bob, I saw him and Sister Ella walking one day, and he was still in a suit and tie. Now, Pastor K, you might see him in Seminole, and he may be in shorts with a white beater. Now, he wouldn't wear the white beater t-shirts, but he would have flip-flops on. You just never knew about Pastor K. Brother Bob was reserved, you know, and everything, quiet man. Pastor K, I was at a men's retreat one time, and I knew that First Baptist had called a pastor and stuff, and there was a guy about 2 or 3 people behind me, and he was saying, yeah, we're moving to Seminole, and I think they've got whole 3-stop signal lights in the town. And I thought, I know who he is. So I turned around, and I said, my name's Carl. I was pastor at Harvey Road at the time. And he says, oh, yeah, I've heard about you. I'm the new pastor at Walmart Baptist Church. He had a sense of humor that you just couldn't believe. I know one time he preached a funeral, and of course, you know, some preachers can just preach. They don't have to do anything else. Some preachers have to play the piano or the guitar and sing. No offense, Brother Russell. And stuff. But Pastor K could play the guitar and he could sing. And I hid his guitar from him one time at a graveside service. And that was about the only time that I ever saw him really getting upset. But it was probably a pretty expensive guitar. But anyway, I was looking at his notes up at the pulpit of the church, and it was Memorial Day service. And he had a little note, preach 23rd Psalms every Sunday, every Memorial Sunday. And I thought if First Baptist Church preacher can do it, Carl Whitfield can do it as well. So you're good. You've been hearing from the 23rd Psalms the last 2 or 3 Memorial Sundays. Now, the 23rd Psalms is to me a unique chapter. I'll never forget the first time that I read the 23rd Psalms. I was about 11 years old. I was sitting in the truck with Mom and Dad. We were in a catch pen. And we were waiting for a couple of trucks to come to load out some yearlings and take them to the stockyard there at McAllister. Now, as I've already stated, if you know me well, I'm a nosy person. And if I'm in your car, I don't mean any offense, but if I'm on the passenger side, can't help it, open the glove compartment box and just see what you've got in here. So you be careful. I remember one night I was out visiting with the deacon, and the guy was sharing the gospel with him. I grabbed his Bible, it was on the coffee table there, and I was thumbing through it, and he had a marijuana cigarette in it. Now I guess that's a good, safe place to keep your marijuana cigarettes, in the Bible, in the Word of God. Anyway, I just kind of palmed it out in my hand, kept it there, shared the gospel with him. Didn't get any farther. We left, me and the deacon, and I showed it to him. He says, "What's that?" And I said, "That's a marijuana cigarette." He says, "Wow, can I keep it?" Well, sure. He said, "I want to show it to my wife." So he put it in the glove in his ashtray. I saw him, I've seen him off and on. About 3 weeks later, well, I saw him every day just about. But about 3 weeks later, it dawned on me about that cigarette. I says, "What did you do with that marijuana cigarette?" "Oh, it's still in my ashtray." I said, "You better get rid of that thing. You'll go to jail." But I don't. I says, "It doesn't matter. The way you drive, it's vintage. You're going to get pulled over. And then they're going to search your car, and you're going to have that marijuana cigarette, and you're going to embarrass the church and go to jail. And your wife's going to kill you." But anyway, I'm nosy. So I opened up the glove compartment box of that old pickup, and there was a memorial folder in there from a funeral. Apparently, we'd had a family member that passed away, or somebody that a friend of Mom and Dad's. And I opened it up, and I read the 23rd Psalms. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Yea, he restoreth my soul for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever." Amen. I want you to know that 23rd Psalms at the age of 11 scared me to death. Because as I read that psalm, and maybe it's the valley of the shadow of death that did it, I realized that at the age of 11, I'm not invincible. One of these days, I'm going to die. Matter of fact, if I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have took better care of my body. I never figured I'd make it to the 60s. Actually, I didn't think I'd make it to the 30s. And when I made it to the 40s, I thought, wow, something's going on, you know. And I figured after the 40s, it's just a blessing from God for me. Actually, after I survived the teenage years and the 20s, it was a blessing from God after that. But anyway, it scared me. And so I don't know if I ever picked up the 23rd Psalms and read it again after that. But years later, as I surrendered to preach, and I was at Harvey Road, and I felt led to go in a different direction in the ministry. And so they called me at the funeral home, wanted to know if I'd come down and start an aftercare program down there. Now, I knew that I couldn't give up preaching. I love to preach. I mean, I'd rather, it doesn't show it, but I'd rather preach than eat. I know, he's such a liar. As Hugh McGee says, "You lying preacher." But I do love to preach. I like it. And so I thought, okay, what I'll do, I'll go from full-time and I'll find a bivocational church and I'll preach there. But there wasn't nothing there, nothing available. I couldn't believe it. And so I thought, okay, if I'm not preaching, I'm going to spend some time and I'm going to study the 23rd Psalms. I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty. I'm going to cover after I don't know how long, I just barely scratched the surface of the 23rd Psalms. It's such a beautiful, beautiful passage of Scripture. And it has so much meaning for each and every one of us. Now, some of your theologians, they, of course, you know, you figure you get 3 Baptists together and you've got 5 different ideas. But there, some of them, they disagree about the age of David when he penned the 23rd Psalms. Some believe that David was a young shepherd boy, and he was tending his father's sheep. And the sheep were down in the valley eating the green grass there in the meadow. And there was a quiet stream just not far off. And David was on the hillside of that valley and maybe sitting underneath a shade tree. And he began to look at those sheep down there and the responsibility that he had of his father's sheep. Remember, he was just a shepherd boy. You remember when Samuel came to anoint the next king of Israel. And all David's brothers came there and Samuel said, "This is not the guy, this is not the guy. Don't you have another son?" That he said to Jesse, David's father. And he said, "Yeah, but I've got a little ruddy teenage boy tending the sheep. That's all he is good for." So some of your scholars believe that David was tending the sheep. And begin to think, look how important I am. I've got the welfare of my fathers in my hands. These sheep, if it wasn't for me, these sheep would die. They would drown. They would starve to death. And then you begin to think, you know what? The Lord is my shepherd. And if it wasn't for the Lord being my shepherd, I'd be in trouble. Other theologians believe that David was the king of Israel when he penned the 23rd Psalms. And he's sitting on his throne one day. And he kind of got the big head. You know, sometimes we do that, don't we? Okay, I know somebody said there's no we in my pocket. Okay. Oh, mouse. No mouse in my pocket. Where you get the we. You know what I mean. And you're probably saying, "Preacher, you may get the big head sometimes, but I'm just as humble as they come." And David was sitting on his throne. And he began to think about the Israelite nation. And how many people he had underneath him. You remember one time he actually did that. He went to his general and he says, "You know what? I just wonder how many people I'm king over. I wonder how many people I rule over. I want to take a census." And Joab says, "Oh, David, that's not a good idea. Don't do it. No, I want to know how many people depend on me. I'm the king of Israel, the greatest nation that ever walked upon the face of the earth." It said maybe David, after a time, and that got him in trouble. You remember the story there. David was sitting on his throne. Wonder how many people depend on me. I mean, I'm in charge of the military. I provide food. I provide protection. And then he began to think, you know what? God is my shepherd. Amen. And so the 23rd Psalms is a special, special verse. And I think this Psalms right here, in these few verses, they tell us about the good things that you and I can enjoy. In verse 1 it says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." We can have a good life. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we desire. That's what the world is wanting today, that to have a good life. You remember a motion picture that came out many years ago, City Slickers? I wanted to watch that for 2 reasons. One of them, I was raised on a ranch. And I can remember when we would have City Slickers. The boss man would bring out some of his friends from McAllister. And we'd have to saddle up the horses for him or something, you know. You haven't found one yet, have you? Hang it. And they couldn't do anything. put them on this old mirror we had, called her Dolly. She'd go about a quarter of a mile and then she'd bring them back. I mean, she could fake a limp like you've never seen in your entire life. They didn't know anything about it. I remember one time we brought some, was getting up some cattle, and no offense, any of you got any cutting horses? Rolling horse is what you need. A cutting horse, no offense, don't want to harm, hurt anybody's feelings. Cutting horse is good in a plot. You get them out in the pasture. This guy brought this high-powered cutting horse out. We got the cattle gathered in the catch pen, ready to put them in the corral. The cattle swarmed. I mean, my daddy worked on the ranch. The cattle would look for you. You didn't walk across the pasture because they'll come for you. You either got in the truck, you rode across. I don't know how many times I've had horses butted underneath me because they just turned and attacked the horse. I mean, when we would take them to the stockyard, they would say, the people at the stockyard, those come from T-Bar, didn't they? Because they was tearing up gates, they were jumping out, getting on 69 highway. I mean, it was a mess. This was before the time we had tranquilizer guns like we had when I worked on the Bar XL. Okay, where was I going? Help me out here. There's so much going on up there. City slickers. So I wanted to watch it. I wanted, because I remember the cutting horse, yeah. Just the cattle swarmed, and he just sat there and trembled. Didn't have a clue what was going on. And so I wanted to watch this movie. And then the second reason I wanted to watch this movie, because I knew it was going to be a comedy. Now, I don't know about y'all. Y'all may not know this about me. But I like comedy. I like fun things. I like to joke. I like to kid around. And I like to be kidded to. Matter of fact, if you don't kid me, I think you're mad at me or something. And so I wanted to watch this. And you remember there was this guy. And he had everything that supposedly the world had to offer. He had a pretty wife like all of us guys have got. Miss Mary. He had I knew there'd be some amens there. Yeah. You slept through everything else, but you knew to wake up on that. I had a loving wife, a pretty wife. I had a career, promising career. I mean, he was at the top of the market, but there was something missing in his life. Something was gone from his life. He was not happy. He lost his smile. And on this dude ranch, he met an old cowboy by the name of Curly. A rough, tough old guy. Jack Palance. Couldn't have been played by anybody better. Ugly as homemade soap, but tough as nails. He's kind of in there in my book with Charles Bronson. I like Charles Bronson. Marilyn said he's ugly. I said, I don't care, he's good. He's tough. And he was telling the city slicker, you've got to have this one thing. And he says, well, what is this one thing? He says, you've got to find this one thing. Find happiness and peace and tranquility. David tells us in this world that we're living in, if you want joy, if you want peace, if you want happiness, you're not going to find it in any other place except allowing the Lord to be your shepherd. Yeah. The good life. Now the world tells us if you want to have a good life, you need to take this ultimate vacation. The world tells us if you want to have a good life, you need to have this certain vehicle. The world tells us if you want to have a good life, then you need a certain type of house to live in. Kind of cranky this morning. My neighbors got dogs. One of them come up missing. I found it at 12 o'clock this morning underneath my house in a tornado. I thought, what do I do? Do I crawl underneath the house? I heard her yapping. She was hung up in there. Do I crawl underneath the house at 12 o'clock at night, or do I call a deacon? And then I looked at all the deacons, and they're too fat to go through the crawl hole. They're like me, except Brother Oliver. So we all need to go on a diet. So I'd go outside and I'd call her name. Finally, she got out. So I called the neighbor a while ago, and then the dog come home. Yeah, but she can't hardly walk. She stove up. And I said, well, she just hung up underneath the house. So I didn't sleep too good. I mean, she didn't do anything until 12 o'clock at night. Then she started yapping and hammering. Crazy dog. Have a good life. I'm not sure why I brought that up, but you have to have a good life. And that good life comes about by finding one thing. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Now, when he talks about the Lord there, the word Lord, if you'll notice in your Bible, is capitalized. Every letter of the word Lord is capitalized. And you'll run across that quite often in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, it will be a capital L, small case O-R-D, which means Ananite, or master. But when all of the letters are capitalized, it means Yahweh, the self-sufficient one. The one who has always been and will always will be. And so David said, if you want to have a good life, you're only going to find it when you allow Yahweh, the good shepherd, to be the leader of your life. Now, if you'll notice, there's another word in there. The Lord. Not one of many. Just pick and choose. The Lord. Yahweh, the one and only. So if you're here this morning and you want a good life, you're only going to find it when you allow the Lord to be your shepherd. Then you shall not want the good life. Now moving on a little bit farther. Not only did the 23rd Psalms tell us we can have a good life, but the 23rd Psalms tells us we can have a good day. As I shared with you earlier, I think that was one of the things when I was 11 years old that scared me, frightened me about the 23rd Psalms. It mentioned death. At 11 years old, you don't worry about death. You don't think about death. But it hit me. I'm going to die one of these days. Now, when the psalmist was talking about the shadow of death, he's talking about a deep darkness. He's talking about like how God described the darkness before creation. He's talking about... Have you ever been in a room, in a house, and it was so dark you couldn't see the hand in front of your face? That's what he's making reference to right there. It's a deep darkness. And so he tells us that we can, when we go through the valley of the shadow of death, that God will be there and he will look after us. You know, so often we associate this passage of Scripture, as I did when I was 11 years old, with a physical death. It's not necessarily a physical death that he's referring in reference to. I think what he's talking about right here is it can be any kind of situation that may be taking place in your life. It may be health. It may be the loss of a loved one. It may be finances. It may be a job security. It may be anything. This valley of the shadow of death is just not necessarily a physical death. It's the heartaches of this world. And let's face it, that's what's wrong with so many people in the world today. With all the problems and the situations that are happening and taking place, they can't handle it. You know, I think we've kind of ruined our children, our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, as parents and grandparents. We've given them a buffet life. I'm not sure if that's the right word or not. We've eased things for them. Situation come up, we jump in there and handle it. And they don't know how to handle it when it does take place in their lives because we've taken care of it for them. So let it be known, daughters, you're on your own from now on. I'm going to enjoy my golden years. Tough it out. Of course, only one of them's here. And it's the good one. Yeah, you know. But you can give them the message. Grandchildren, you're on your own. Never mind. Yeah. So we see here, it talks about it can be suffering. It can be trouble that falls on us like bricks from a truck, one after another. the bad health, confinement, criticism, unrelieved stress, all of this can be a shadow of death that hampers us here upon this earth. Now, David gives a conclusion. He says, you are with me. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Now, I'm not a grammar student, you know that. But it goes from third person he to second person you. In other words, David goes from talking about God to talking to God. You see, if you want to make it through the valleys, God is there with you, but you need to go to Him. And my friends, I want you to know, if you're lost, you go to Him, but He's got to be your shepherd before He'll listen. No, that's not right. I believe He'll listen. I'm going to get in trouble. God only hears the prayer of a lost person when that person repents of their sins. You want to go through the valleys with the Yahweh leading you, then you need to experience the good life. And you can only experience the good life by allowing the Lord to be your shepherd. And He's your shepherd by the fact that you realize you're lost, you're undone, you need Jesus Christ, He's the Son of God. You repent of your sins, ask Him to come and live within your heart, and give it all to Him. Amen. Now the shadow. He's with us. You see, shadows cannot hurt. They may frighten us a little bit. I think I've probably shared this story with you 100 times, but you're going to get to listen to it again. When I went down to the funeral home, and it's a strange place to work because I'm kind of a spooky person. I am. I'm a scaredy cat. The last 2 nights I spent the night at the house by myself. I've had a shotgun on this side. I've had my pistol on this side. Not really. I don't even know where they're at. Oh, yeah, I do. No, just kidding. I'm not tapping it out. But I was at the funeral home. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was fixing to leave. Spooky place, especially the old one. The new one's not so bad, but the old one, I mean, the prep room was down in the bottom of the basement, only one way in, one way out, ramp, you know, I mean, that's spooky. All kinds of noises. I went through the garage door, waiting for it to close. All of a sudden, there was a gust of wind and a shadow went across my feet. I turned and I ran into that garage door. I mean, it had the rattle, you could hear it a block away. And what had happened, Harry Arnhart, who lived next door, he had a windsock out, and the wind moved that windsock, and there was that light on that street light, blew that shadow, and it come right across me. It did not hurt me, it scared me to death. Shadows do not hurt. But the key to this part right here is, for there to be a shadow, there's got to be light. And the psalmist says that when we walk through those valleys, not just a physical death, but the heartaches and the trials and the tribulations of this world, guess who's with us? The shepherd. He's there. He will never forsake us. The rod and the staff. Now, we know about the rod. Brother Bob Shoemaker, a good friend, he did a revival here for us a time or two. He passed away this past week. And he used to have what they called the rod. It was a stick about like that with a big old knot. It was a ruler. And it had a little thong on it where he could keep it there. And it was for protection. The rod. I mean, it is said that he could almost use it like a slingshot for protection. God is there to protect us. His rod is there. His staff. His staff is used, you know, the shepherd's staff with the hook, and it's there to prod us along. It's there to tap us on the shoulder as a lamb to make it go to the right or to the left. And then if we fall in the the ditch. Back home we call them bar ditches. You know why they're called bar? Now we don't have time to get into the bar ditches. But it's got that hook, and they, kind of like, anyone ever take a clothes hanger, straighten it out, and make a hook, and then go to the chicken yard, and there you go, Kelly. Yeah, you can hook it around that chicken's leg, can't get away. You don't have to chase them all over the barnyard to cut their heads off so you can have fried chicken for supper. Just make that little hook. Pauline, Kentucky Fried Chicken comes from live chickens. I know, yeah. Oh, I see now we've got peanut all over the place. Yeah. Get a life, people. Meat just didn't happen. It's born. Anyway, the hook, and the shepherd can take that hook and pull them out of the bargain. We can have the good things in life, even through problems and situations and trials. And then the shepherd says, not only can we have a good life, not only can we have a good death, but we can have a good eternity. And I want you to know I'm looking forward to that. I mean, that's going to happen sooner than what we think, because I believe the return of Christ is on the way before we know it. But in verses 5 and 6, he says, and I'll never forget this portion of scripture right here, and I'll not try to do it, but Dennis Eubanks preached from the 23rd Psalms here one Sunday, and he did one of the greatest jobs I'd ever heard on the 23rd Psalms that I've ever heard in my entire life. And when he come down to the prepares the table before me in the presence of me, I'd never heard that before. I'd never heard what it was all about. I've always studied, thought about it and stuff, but it's so unique and special, and we'll not get into it because we may use it for another time. But we can have a good eternity. He says, thou preparest the table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. A good eternity. You see, in verses 5 and 6, no longer is it just a shepherd that's tending the sheep. It's the host. Didn't mean to spit. You okay? Yeah, I just went part way. The host. The host. Sorry, girls. Is looking after us now. Think about a host. I mean, you go to somebody's home and they just make you feel so welcome. Here, sit in my favorite chair. Now, I won't have that. I mean, this has to do. Here, would you like a cup of coffee, a glass of tea? Can I get you some water? Make us feel welcome, that we're special, unique. But it's nothing compared about how the host, Yahweh, makes us. And one of these days, when that trumpet is called, whether it's with the rapture of a church or God just calls us home through a natural death, guess what? Jesus is there to welcome us to our eternal home. Now, one of the things that I really love, of course, what Dennis Eubanks said about in the presence of my enemies, and just kind of shortcut it. He says what happens when two enemies, when they would draw up the battle lines, that they had the hardtack. They didn't have the banquets or anything. I mean, they had field rations. They had potted meat. They had Vienna sausages. I mean, they didn't have the campfires. They had cold meals. They had Pop-Tarts. But when we get to heaven, and there's not going to be enemies in heaven, but it's going to be a banquet. And you're not going to worry about the enemies. There's going to be the campfires. And there's going to be the steak. There's going to be the roasted hot dogs. There's going to be all this good stuff. Yes. What I like about it, he says, my cup runneth over. In heaven, we can have a good eternity because our cup is running over. That tells me in heaven there is no need whatsoever. That it's the host of heaven is meeting everything before it ever arises. Our cup. Now, everybody has an eternity. Everybody is going to spend eternity in one of two places. Eternity in heaven, where there's a banquet for God's people who have experienced a good life and the good experiences here upon this earth, where the cup runneth over, eternity in heaven. And you only experience that when you know Yahweh, the shepherd, as Lord and Savior. Now there's another eternity out there as well. Eternity of hell. And my friends, just as long as heaven is, hell is even longer. Just as beautiful and marvelous as heaven is, and the book of Revelation gives us a glimpse of heaven. No tears, no pain, no sorrow, no sickness, no night. The Shekinah glory of God. You don't need the sun because of God's presence. Outshines the sun. But there's a hell. And those that do not know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, that He is not their shepherd, if they die in that state, eternity in hell. You think about eternity in hell. Do you remember the story of the rich man and Lazarus? The rich man died and was escorted to the presence of God. Lazarus, Elazar, which means God of hell, has help. And then the rich man who fared sumptuously every day, who had need of anything, nothing whatsoever, had the finest that the world had to offer, said he also died and was buried, and in hell. Lifted up his eyes in torment, asking for a drop of water. Jesus told that story. And that rich man was asking for a drop of water when Jesus told that story. And guess what? On May the 28th, 2017, that same rich man is still crying out for a drop of water. And you know what? For all eternity, he's still going to be crying out for a drop of water. You can have a good eternity, or you can have a bad one. The choice is yours. And the time to make that choice is right now. Is today. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Every head is bowed. Father, as we come before thy throne of grace, we ask that you would touch, bless, guide, and direct in hearts and lives. Father, that you would minister as only you can. That you would have your will in our hearts and in our lives today. May we choose you. May we choose the good that you have to offer. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. As we stand,
Please turn to hymn 120. Say
good holiday, safe holiday. And then certainly remember those camping at Falls Creek. They had some storms down there last night, but I've not heard anything about canceling, so we're going to the creek. Experience God. You pray for the campers, pray for the sponsors, and they have to put up with me and the campers. As long as I've got coffee, I'll be all right. All right, let's circle around for our closing prayer. And we'll just have special prayer for the twins. Oh, yeah, very good. Brother Dean, will you dismiss this prayer, please?
Lord, we thank you for everything you've given us. We thank you for bringing us here today. We thank you especially for the veterans among us.
That's right.
All the veterans, those that gave their lives, and those that sacrificed much. We pray that you will be with us this week and be with us, and we will be safe over the holiday. Give us traveling grace and be with all the people that are ill, physically, spiritually, mentally, whatever they may need. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
The guy's coming down to do it. Yeah.
And
Architect kind of did it.
then architecture engineer.
Okay. That's good.
You know, the main thing I think is just to get somebody there to do it. And
Yeah.
to do all the lifting and carrying and stuff like that. And get dug in for work. And I'd probably just get the inmates to help me work, but it'd be nice to have to do what they're doing.
I'm there, Dick. Sorry. We get that done, we get the footing done, and that'll let, we'll get some sleeves in there, and that way it's come get this thing,
There's him at away in a manger.
in there.
I'm just hoping we can get everybody coordinated.
Joey and Rory? That's it?
They're all,
Did it have a case?
I'll try to get all this set up and then let you know what we need.
I'll make time. I'll make time. Yep. Yeah, it'll be wherever. It'll be like
Are you going to take your I don't know if there's any delivery thing I can do for you. If you're in any way up. I used to work for Thomas Concrete, concrete buildings. Parking garages. So, I've been around. That's one thing I run by. I don't know if you've ever messed with precast concrete.
precast concrete, yeah.
I've always seen the need for precast concrete because they don't do it. And if you could find a company to work for, and it's
The only problem is the cost. It costs so much more than just putting up a metal building. So people, even when they look at it and they go, well, I can put up a metal building and I can do something on the interior and exterior, it'll still be cheaper.
Yeah.
Because precast is just.
But if there's any way you can get somebody to do just a plain old wall.
Yeah, just hey, this is how we do it. Just
you get a well plate at the
pieces
top,
that go together. Yep. True.
And do something real simple.
True.
And then those things last forever.
I know it.
But I just want to run.
No, you're exactly.
I thought of that for a long time.
Honestly, I work on that all the time. Like, man, it'd be easier to do some of these buildings just kind of like that.
Yeah. But okay. I'll let you know how things are going and.